thought that was the end of that, right? I was working a 16-hour shift this day. I didn't read the room, okay? I swear he was gonna punch you in the face. I would never, ever, ever forget that night. I was brushing my teeth and I said, when I look at the lineup of my channel, Storytimes, it's either related back to a man or it's related back to a man. Juicy stories that I can let y'all in on that ain't got nothing to do with a relationship. I'm gonna switch it up a little bit. In 2020, I was doing my thing. I was running up the bag. I was working every shift at the hospital that I could potentially work. Like, I was like focused heavily on getting the bag. As I'm working multiple shifts, of course, I'm interacting with multiple personalities, multiple people, and we were just getting hit with a lot of patients. Like, everyone was coming to our ER. It was pretty crazy back then. Okay, y'all, so I've changed positions and everything because I'm like, I felt like the noise was distracting me. I want y'all to see my laundry on the couch. But let's get back to the story time. So our numbers were just like increasing very quick. I mean, the pandemic had just really started. And so the supervisor comes and he says, you know, I'm going to bring in some PRNs. And basically those are the people that come in when we're at our busiest times. So we're like, cool. You know, the thing about like with PRNs is they're like there just to fill that time when like there are spikes. So basically, how do I say this? And I'm not saying this is true for everywhere, but what I found a lot of times is like with the PRNs, they don't really vet them as much as like if you're bringing someone full time on or even part time, like they're going to have a regular schedule every week. They're clocking in at 20 hours or 40 hours. I feel like they really put in the work to make sure that that person, if they're hiring someone part-time or full-time, really is going to mesh with the team. With PRNs, they kind of just are like, okay, well, we need the help. So, oh, okay, you said you can do the job. Okay, you're hired. It's kind of one of those things. We're going to call this person Antonio. The day comes and the supervisor comes and he's like, oh, so I'm bringing in this person, Antonio, and, you know, I'm going to need you to really help him because this is going to be his first shift with us. And I really need you to like hold his hand. So I'm like, cool, you know, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. So the way they had it set up at the time at our hospital is we had to be in the back with the patients, and we had to, like, as patients were being checked in, we had to go from room to room to room. So off bat, what I noticed about Antonio, he's like complaining, which I complained about that system too. But I just was like, okay, like eventually, like, okay, it's okay if you complain about something, but eventually it's kind of like, dude, like, I get it. Like, you don't want to be doing this, Antonio. I get it completely, but this is the job. Like, either we're going to do the job or we're going to leave. And I needed my coins at the time, so I didn't have time because I was getting overtime and stuff. I was like, you know, I ain't going nowhere right now. So, you know, like the whole shift that me and him worked, I was like, oh, I could already tell like his attitude was just not the best attitude. I was trying to be welcoming and be nice. And I'm not trying to paint myself as like the angel in this story, but it's gonna all come into play. Fast forward, he was picking up so many shifts that it came to the point where the person that we had as our night person had to leave. So the night position was offered to Antonio. The shift that I was hired for was a first shift. I want to say it was like 7:30 to 4 o'clock. That was my designated part-time shift. But because I wanted the hours, I was okay with doing a 16-hour day. So sometimes I would work like 7:30 to like 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I would work, I remember one time I went in at like 3 in the morning, and I was scheduled from 3 in the morning to like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, your girl, I was really trying to get that dollar. Okay, I was really trying to get that bag up. You would think, okay, well, he's doing the night position and I'm hired for the first position that we wouldn't interact, but we interacted way more because I was just picking up shifts, right? I never really got into deep conversations with Antonio. Like, it was very surface level. But I started to notice, like, he started, like, asking a lot of personal questions. I don't want to say it was probing, because I would open up to certain people there that I was close to, but I am a private person. And I know that sounds crazy. I'm putting my life on social media to be judged. But generally, like, in my personal life, y'all, I am very private. Like, I don't tell people, like, every bit about myself. Like, I don't go around doing that. Like, I'm very to myself when I'm at the job. Long story short, he started, like, trying to get, like, personal. And I was like, well, I don't really know him like that, but, you know, we can have some conversation. I guess I just looked at it as, okay, he's just trying to have a conversation with me. Cool. You know, he's just trying to get acclimated to the team, maybe. So we would have some personal conversations, but like I said, I never really got in depth like that with him. I had gotten my bachelor's degree, and I had told some people, like, y'all, I finally graduated, I got my bachelor's, but I never brought it up to him. We're gonna come back to that, okay? I mentioned that for a reason. Everything I'm mentioning is for a reason, y'all. I'm not just saying this stuff, okay? So me and him start interacting more with each other. And, like, when me and Antonio would work together, I would notice he would, like, make little remarks about other people on the team. And your girl is not for the drama. Like, I am literally the person, I'm coming to the job, do my job, and I'm out. Get my check at the time every other week, and we Gucci. That's my setup, right? Like, I get there, I do the job to get the coin, and I'm out. Ain't nothing else to it, okay? So the whole, like, gossiping thing, trying to have drama, all that stuff, I was like, especially with him, because I did not know him like that, I was like really just not interested. So when he would start talking his ish about other people, I was just like tune it out. Like, I was watching, like, if it was downtime, I would be on my phone, maybe texting my mom back and forth. But I wasn't really feeding into that, right? The blow up. Okay, we gonna get to the blow up. Okay. There was a person on our team, and love this person dearly. We're going to call her Amy. Love Amy to pieces. Like, she, the sweetest person, right? But Amy had a habit of reaching out to people to cover her shift, okay? She had a habit, and I loved that, because if I was available, I always, like, Amy reached out to me, hey, can you work this shift? I'm like, yes, I'm there, because it was giving me my coin. But not everyone has that mindset, right? Like, not everyone is caring about the overtime. Not everyone cares about getting as many hours as they can. Like, I wasn't really single, but basically I was a single undergrad student living on my own, just trying to make ends meet. So any opportunity that I got to make extra cash, I was taking that, like, period. But not everyone appreciated Amy reaching out to them. Antonio would go around mentioning Amy, and him and Amy were supposed to be friends. And he didn't just mention this to me, he would mention it, like, in front of everybody. Amy just wouldn't be there, right? But he would make comments and say stuff like, you know, I'm gonna have to block Amy because she keeps hitting up my cell, and I don't appreciate her asking me to work for her, right? He would say stuff like this. And he would not just say this to me, he would say this in front of security, he would say this in front of other team members. Like, I think he even said this in front of the supervisor. So it was not just said to me, right? So fast forward a little bit. Amy calls me one day, and she says to me, you know, we're friends. And I'm like, yeah, we are. Like, I consider you a friend. And she is like, I need you to be 100 with me. And I'm like, yeah, cool. And she's like, has Antonio been going around saying my name? And I just got silent. Y'all, I got silent because, like I said, I didn't want to be a part of no workplace drama. I was trying to stay out of that. But I was silent, and she took that as, well, then I'm gonna take that as a yes. And I didn't say anything. I'm gonna be honest. I'm being 100. Like I said, this story time is not for me to be painted as like some angel, right? And I'm not gonna say I'm the victim. Even though I did not like how this went down, but I'm not gonna pick myself as a victim. That was the end of that. Like, and then Amy also called another person on our team, and I was there when she did. And she verified with that person that Antonio had, in fact, been saying like comments like, I'm gonna block Amy. Amy is just getting on my nerves with all this calling and texting, asking me to cover shifts for her. Well, I thought that was the end of that, right? Thought that was the end of that, but it wasn't. I was working a 16-hour shift this day. I was working from 7 a.m. until 11 p.m. And so Antonio was going to be my relief at 11. He was coming in at 11 at night. Me and my good friend were working that shift that night, like second shift. I was working, like I said, I was working 7 to 11, but she came in from 3 to 11. Me and her were working, we were having a good shift, but I was like really, by the end of the shift, I was really tired. Like I was going to school full time. I was trying to work those hours and I was tired. So I just really wasn't in the mood for no bullshit. I'm just gonna keep it. I don't want to curse, but I was just not in the mood for no bullshit. So 11 o'clock comes and I'm like, whew, hallelujah. Antonio walks in and I'm like, cool. You know, like I can go home. Like I can, cause I think that next day I was scheduled to come back in at 7 in the morning. So I had to work my 16-hour shift and then I was supposed to be back at 7 that next morning. So I was like ready to go home to get some rest. I was tired. So Antonio comes in and he goes to the back, clocks in, does what he needs to do. Antonio just like looks at me and I'm like he doesn't say nothing. And I'm like, you good? Like, is everything okay? Like I was just like caught off guard. And Antonio was like, you know, like he says to me like, hey Diamond. I'm like, hey Antonio. Like I didn't read the room, okay? Like I said, I was tired. I wasn't trying to decode what these facial expressions he was making meant. Like I did not give a fuck. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like I said, I'm trying not to curse, y'all, but I'm cursing. I didn't give a damn, okay? We'll say that. It's just like, gives me this like look like of disgust. And I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with him? Mind you, Antonio always like will go around bragging about how religious he is. He's like, I'm such a religious man. I'm a religious guy. Like he was just always like tooting his horn about how religious of a man he is and how holy he is. I'm like, Antonio, what's up? And he's like, you know, I really don't appreciate you having my name in your mouth. And I'm like, huh? Like I was just completely caught off guard. And he's like, yeah, I heard back from Amy that you've been talking crap about me. And I'm like, what do you mean? I need you to like break this down for me because I don't know what you're referring to. And frankly, I'm tired and ready to go home and I don't have time for this shit. And so he's like, yeah, like Amy came back to me and told me that you told her that I blocked her number. And like, that's really foul. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, this is why I don't get in the midst of stuff, okay? So I'm like, Antonio, that's not what happened. What has happened is you have gone around in front of several people because I've been there and you have told several people, including our supervisor, that you planned on blocking her. So for you to come at me and say that it came out of my mouth, that's foul, okay? Because that's not how it went down. I say, you know, Amy called me. Me and her have known each other for a while before you even came into the picture. And she asked me and another person that she has also been close to, have you been spreading her name? And I did not say anything. I was silent. And she took that, I assume, as yes. And that's what happened. And that was the end of that. But I don't even know you like that to be having your name in my mouth, whatever. So he starts getting like really angry. There are patients in the waiting room, by the way. And he starts making a scene. He starts cursing me out. He called me all kinds of bitches and hoes. Like I said, this is coming from a religious person. And yeah, like he just like cursed me the hell out in front of everybody, and there are patients, there was I believe like a 7-year-old in the waiting room with their mom. And people are getting up because they're like, what is going on? Like this is happening in front of all the patients and we're packed that night. And so patients are like, like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, what is going on? So, like, I stood up because I was sitting in the chair, and he like got directly in front of me, and he was like just cursing me out. At the time, we're at the height of the pandemic, and he had already caught the virus, and he had no mask on. So at the time, like, I was like really uncomfortable because I'm like, you're in my face screaming, spit flying in my face, and you've had the virus, and you're like, you have no mask on, nothing. So I'm a very strategic person. I will say that. And where I chose to sit this day, and I'm glad I did, there was this one particular seat where the camera was directly like on this, like where I was sitting at, the camera was directly pointed. And I would sit there for a reason, because I'm like, if in my mind, I was like, if a patient ever pops off at me, at least it's on camera so that I can have footage backing up. Like, I think like that. Like, I'm like, just in case. I never thought it would be a coworker though. Like, that never crossed my mind, because I've never had issues with any of my coworkers ever. At any job I've ever been at, I've never in my life like had any issues with coworkers. But we about to come to the conclusion. My good friend, she runs out from, because she was also like, she was like at the entrance, and she runs to us, and it's like, what is going on? Like, like, no, like, she's trying to like get in between us, because I had stood up at this point, because I'm like, this guy Antonio was like a very large person, and I'm not trying to be shady, but he was like a footballer. Like, his stature was like of a quarterback. So, and I'm like this 5'4", 118 pounds at the time girl, and this 40-year-old man who has like the stature of a quarterback is like overtowering me. He's like 6'4", bigger guy. Like, and that was intimidating. So my good friend, she runs and she tries to get between us, and he's like trying to like back her off, like he's gonna like he reached out his hand as if he was gonna put his hands on me. My good friend, she's like, don't you dare. Like, no. Because later on, when I talked to her, she was like, girl, I swear he was going to punch you in the face. Like, it was that heated. He was cussing me the F out. And he says to me, he makes a comment, he says, you think you all that? You think you the shit? Just because you got your degree now, you think that you the shit? And like I said, mind you, I never even told him I got my degree. So that just told me a lot. Like, oh my gosh, I really can't trust anybody. Because I'm like, not that that was a big deal. It was not a secret. But my point is, that was something. Oh, and also at the time, I was in the midst of transferring to another medical place with the same company. I was in the midst of transferring, and I had not told anybody. The only person that knew was my supervisor and myself about me transferring. I was transferring to another position. He was like, you think just because you got your bachelor's degree now and because you transferring that you can just say whatever you want, that you don't give a damn. You just don't give a damn. You just don't give a damn, do you? And I said to him, no, I really don't give a damn. Not about this situation and about y'all drama. And he was like, yeah, that's real sad that you really just don't give a damn. You really don't give a F. You don't give a F about nobody but yourself. Like, he was just like going the F off, y'all. And I felt so bad. I felt so attacked because, like, literally there are kids sitting to the like behind me. There are children in the waiting room watching this. There are older people who just felt like really bad that night watching this, and I'm like, this cannot make them feel good. Obviously, like, I felt like crap because I'm like, damn, like, this person that I thought was a good person is just like full on attacking me. And so my good friend, she's like, get in between us. She's like, you need to walk over there and cool off. He would not back down. Like, there was no talking to Antonio. Like, my good friend, she was close to Antonio, and he was just not listening to her. She's like, you need to walk to the back and calm down. And he was just not hearing it. Like, there was no getting through to him. And the security guy, he was watching a football game or something, like the highlights. He was not trying to pay attention at all. Like, he was not, like, everyone knew, like, this was like a big blow up in front of everybody. But he was like, I ain't getting involved in this. And I'm like, damn, really? I can't even get security. So One of the nurses, the charge nurse, runs out from the back and she's like, "We can hear y'all in the back of the ED." What the hell? When the charge nurse came out, I think that kind of snapped him back. And then I also made a comment to him and I said, you know, it's real funny that you say you're a man of God, but then you can show out like this. That you in church every Sunday and every Wednesday, but then you can pop off so easily. Real professional, and that's real man of God of you. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not trying to be dramatic, but like something in his eyes like changed when I said that. It's like, I don't know if that's like that made that realization came to him like, ooh, she right. Like, I really shouldn't be showing out like this, and I'm supposed to be this holy, religious, stand-up guy, and I'm coming out of my character. I don't know. And then the charge nurse like ran out right after I said that. I don't know what it was, but he finally started backing down. And then I ran to the back and went to the bathroom. My good friend, she came with me, and I called Amy, and I told Amy what had just happened, and she's like, "What the F?" She's like apologizing frantically, like, "Diamond, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry." Like, she was very apologetic. She was like, "That's not what happened." She's like, "I did not throw your name." She was just swearing up and down, like she did not put my name in that. She said she did confront him, but that she did not put my name in the situation. So she's like, "I don't know if he just has a vendetta against you or what." She was like, "But that's just not how it went down." Because he had said to me, "I'm trying to come in between his and her friendship, and then I'm jealous of their friendship," all of this. Mind you, me and Amy were already close before he came along. I was not jealous of their friendship, which Amy said they were not friends. So I don't know. But I went back and I called Amy and I let her know what had just went down. My good friend, she grabbed the phone and she's like, "Yeah," like, cause I was like really upset, y'all. Like, I was almost in tears, and it was because I was angry. I wanted to defend myself. There were some things I was about to say, and my good friend, she was like, "Diamond, don't go there. Don't cross that line." And I was just almost in tears because, one, I was embarrassed that this was happening in front of patients. Two, I was very angry that my name was thrown out there. I don't want to say too much just in case Amy comes across the video, but I mean, she said my name wasn't thrown out, but I feel like maybe it slipped out possibly. I don't know, but I do think my name was mentioned. And I was angry about that. And I confronted her about that. Me and her had a very long conversation about that later on. And I mean, good riddance. We've made up. It's all good. No harm done. But yeah, I did confront her about that. Antonio had made some claims and whatever the next morning. And he tried to jump the gun. He went to our supervisor that morning and was like, "Yeah, Diamond started all this drama last night." Like, he was trying to put it on me. So my supervisor, I believe he called me, and I had sent him an email because I wanted it documented. I didn't even want it just over a phone call. I wanted it documented. And I detailed, I wrote a report. Security finally came over. He had to do a report. He said he was trying not to come over because he was trying to ignore because he didn't want to do a report. But he had to do a report. I did a report. My good friend did a report, and we detailed everything. Sent that to my supervisor, and yeah, like, I had to come in. My supervisor was like, "Well, did you say that you're not acting like a man of God right now towards Antonio?" And I was like, "Well, honestly, I did." I said, "But you know what? I want you to check the footage." And he was like, "The footage?" And I was like, "Yeah, I sat right directly in front of the camera." And so he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm gonna check that later." And I was like, "I refuse to work with Antonio ever again. Any shifts that me and him are paired on or where he has to relieve me, I want to be removed off of. I do not want to come in contact with him at all." The disrespect was absolutely astronomical. It was out of this world. And I don't want to deal with Antonio ever again. And I let my supervisor know I will do whatever it takes to get this person terminated. I went and got like a lock on my gas, so that no one can like try to mess with my gas or pour something in my gas tank. Like, y'all, I was taking all the precautions. But long story short, he was someone I never had to work with again. I'm just gonna keep it at that. Never had to see Antonio again in life. I will never, ever, ever forget that night. Thank you if you stayed with me during the story time. I appreciate it. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. More content is coming. Run up these numbers, run up these views, y'all, and I'm gonna see you later. Mwah.